Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 146 of Millennial Movie Talk. I am your host, Alex Lamb, and I am joined by Michael Herman.
Hello.
And Braden Dixon down here.
I'm down here. Hello. I'm Sleepy Braden. I'm here to talk about the movies.
Are you guys up here on your screen in this corner?
I'm in the top right.
Are you in the top right?
On my screen.
I'm in the top right. You're in the left.
I think everyone's in the top right on their screen.
Yeah. You always get yourself in the top right?
I think Braden would be down the bottom for both Michael and I because he joined the call last.
Yeah.
Anyway.
After 2 years, we finally figured out how Zoom works.
We worked out how Zoom works, guys. Guess what? Next week we won't be on Zoom. That's a little exciting.
Ooh.
It's a stuff. Bit of fun. It is late. You're going to get a very shortened episode tonight where basically we're not doing classic call outs. We're not doing any of our fun hit segments. We only do one now.
If for some reason you're wondering why it's so late and why we're only doing a short episode,
why are we doing it so
late? You would have just listened, if you're an avid listener, you would have
just
listened to a real fan. You would have just listened to the Batman review.
Perry.
Oh, hey, thank you, Jai Perry. You're a wonderful Patreon supporter. Let's knock it out now so we don't forget while we're sleepy.
Yeah, so it is 11:30 at night here. So we are going to do it's basically going to be what we've been watching the episode.
What you watching?
What you've been watching?
Right, before we get into movies, one thing I do want to bring up is the trailer. Check out that review. But is the trailer
and also
Hustle.
Election time's coming up, so make sure you get in
for
funny this. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I got a certain party's propaganda in my letterbox today, and it got ripped up straight away.
Damn straight.
And you know what? It rhymes with schmibberl.
Schmibberl. Yep, that's a real word, definitely. Michael, what have you been watching?
Tell us, what's this trailer?
Before we do that, the trailer for Hustle. So the Adam Sandler basketball Netflix movie.
Oh, with Trae Young and Anthony Edwards. And...
It has got an array. No, it's just we had a trailer, a full trailer. Array of NBA stars are in this, and my God, does it look good. So from what I know, the whole premise is Adam Sandler isn't. I don't know if it's failed NBA scout, but old NBA scout sort of thing. And he comes across this talent somewhere. I can't remember where. I think it's either Mexico or South America or something along those lines. I'm fairly sure. And sort of he's trying to push this dude to get to the NBA, trying to revitalize his own career. And then, this looks like such a good movie.
It looks good. It's Sandler being like dramatic. It's like... Yeah, he's doing another dramatic film produced by both him and LeBron.
Yeah, I haven't watched Uncut Gems yet, but I'm so excited to watch him in this. Gems. I need to.
You're in for a treat, Michael.
You're in for a panic attack
emotionally, and it's like make sure you're calm, have like a nice heavy blanket with you, and just remember it's a movie. You don't have to take that anxiety
Kevin Garnett's
in
that movie.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett is in the movie,
but this. I don't think I've been as excited for a Netflix movie as I am for this one, purely because it's centered around basketball, because it's such a cool premise and it's not going to be a goofy sort of movie.
It's a proper movie.
Like it's gonna. I feel like because it's a serious sports movie, it's not gonna be the same, but sort of Coach Carter vibes, right? It's a real serious message behind it, sort of thing.
Well, I like there's a line in the trailer. He says, "You could have all like the talent. You could be the most talented one out there, but if you're not the most passionate, you're not going to get there."
Yeah, exactly. And so as far as like the whole thing is him trying to push this guy to get to where he thinks he can be.
It's like you've got the talent. You just need to. You need to have the
heart.
Yeah. You could be the most skilled person at something in the world, but if you don't go out there and get in front of people, you're not going to get where you want to be.
I'm still called Vengeance.
It's tough.
But
still called Vengeance.
But and then amongst the trailer, there's an array of NBA stars and just basketball personalities and stuff, which is going to be interesting just to see all these people in it. Like, because obviously we're used to seeing, like, we've seen LeBron in Space Jam and stuff.
Oh yeah,
but
we did.
But like from the original short in that Netflix video, we had Seth Curry and Anthony Edwards, two people I would never think I would watch in a bloody Netflix movie.
And then we have
from that
Trey
trailer
Young.
We have Trey Young. I can't exactly remember off the top of my head who else I saw, but there is quite a few people from memory, which is going to be good.
Yeah, I'm keen for did it have a release date? Is it June, July?
I did not see. I cannot remember. I was meant to bring it up last week, but then I forgot to bring it up last week. So I just snuck it in here.
Speaking of
I didn't
Sandler,
even realize that the trailer had come out. So cool.
I did a Sandler double feature last night.
Yes, you did. Tell us about it.
So my friend had never seen Happy Gilmore, and that's a crime.
True crime.
It is a crime.
And so we watched Happy Gilmore because I'm like, you got to watch Happy Gilmore. And we did. And Happy Gilmore is, you know what? You can tell me it's bad. And I will go, okay, it's bad. But I love it. I love
when there's something about that movie.
You get to that shot of him looking up at the clouds and
Abraham Lincoln
and the crocodiles waving.
You got Abraham Lincoln, Chubbs, and the crocodile.
It's so good.
It's just like, he is the nicest guy in the world in that movie. Like he's just doing this to get his grandma's house back. And like, I gotta say, I want to know what grandma was earning, because she 10 years without lodging tax, like without paying taxes, and she owed them $200,000. What was her? Yeah. What was grandma?
What was she doing?
Grandma making some bank. Shooter McGavin is fantastic in that movie.
I eat piece of shit like you for breakfast. You eat piece of shit for breakfast. Shooter McGavin is the best villain in an Adam Sandler movie.
He is a great villain.
He is just an asshole. Like, and my favorite thing is just like Sandler asshole. From the very beginning just calls him out on everything. Like,
which clearly no one else around him does.
Exactly. And you know, there's just so many iconic parts of that film. You know, Carl Weathers and the croc and the alligator.
Oh my God.
It's just so like his hand, the running joke with his hand through the whole film. Like he finally kind of glues back together, and when he sees Happy again, Happy shakes and just crushes it.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, it's my favorite Sandler film. I love it. I could quote it all day. But we did the double feature because Click is so good. Click is unironically good.
Another one I know I should have seen by now, but it was always I said it earlier. It was always that one I saw in the video store, and every time I wanted to get it, it was either like not there or just I never end up getting it.
Why has a company not created a universal remote that looks like that remote just to sell? Like,
surely someone, I'm on it right now. Surely someone has sold a Click remote prop.
Click is fantastic. Click is, you know, there's only one little section of Click that goes for about 6 to 8 minutes that isn't great, and that's when they do the first time jump and he's fat. I think a lot of that's because of the CGI. Like they didn't put him in a fat suit, they CGI'd fat on him, which it kind of looks really bad, especially in 2022. But like,
when did that come out?
2006. So, you know,
turns out it's very hard to Google for the film Click's remote, because it just comes up with any kind of remote that makes a clicking noise.
Click.
I'm seeing remote control wands from Harry Potter. I'm seeing Ghostbusters traps. I'm seeing everything but the remote from Click.
I didn't realize like Sophie Monk is in Click. Sophie Monk, Australian TV personality. She plays one of David Hasselhoff's secretaries in the film. It's very interesting. Jonah Hill's in it for one scene. I know, right?
Oh my God, she is too.
Big up Sophie Monk.
Wow.
Look, I mean, there's two, Braden, you know the scenes I'm talking about. There's two scenes in Click that will just tear, like, and it's a scene where he talks to his dad when he goes to the last moment, like, because Michael, the premise of Click is that he gets a remote and it works on this universe, so he can speed things up, he can skip, he can pause, he can mute.
I know roughly, obviously, the premise, because I've like obviously heard about it, but my exposure to Click is the parody of it in Epic Movie.
Yeah. So what happens at the beginning is like he skips over things, like he skips his morning routine, he skips traffic to get to work, he skips sex with his wife, he fast forwards through sex with his wife, just this one time, just to like, because he needs to do work, and then he skips like his sickness and colds, and then what happens is the remote has a memory feature, so it just starts to auto skip every time he gets sick, every time he gets ready for work, and like it goes to a point
kind of
where
terrifying.
like, yeah, I think, and it skips to, he also does it to, so he skips to his next promotion, and the first time he skips to his next promotion, it's been like a year, and then like eventually he starts skipping 10 years at a time.
Oh no.
And like he wakes up one time and like because when he's on autopilot, when he's skipping through this, his body goes to autopilot, so he's kind of just like, he's not present, but he still responds to everything. Like, so he's just kind of like emotionless when he does it. And there's like a scene, like he goes like for 10, 15 years and he finds that his dad died. And he's just like to the remote, take me to the last conversation I had with my dad. And he goes back there, he's on autopilot. So it's just like his dad's trying to get him and his son, all three of them, to go out together. And like, he's like, no, Dad, get out of here. Come on. Like, he's being really rude to his dad.
Yeah.
And just like Adam Sandler's just watching all this, and he just pauses and walks up to his dad and starts talking to him, but like his dad can't respond or anything. It's just so, it makes you cry. It's so sad.
It's rough as guts.
Yeah. Click goes from being like goofy Adam Sandler comedy to
it's a fun wacky comedy where he slows down the chick running so he sees her boobs jiggle to hey, let's get depressed about the small amount of time we have on this earth.
Yeah, it's got a message in it too. It's just like live in the moment, and like
it's got wacky Willy Wonka, Christopher Nolan,
Christopher
Walken.
We're gonna make Batman.
We're gonna make Batman. It's gonna be crazy.
I'm gonna put myself in it. I was Shrek. Christopher Walken just plays Christopher Walken in the film.
Yeah, straight up. He's not playing a character. He's just him.
He plays Morty, the Bed Bath and Beyond man. Like that,
Such a good joke.
The joke is because like he goes to Bed Bath and Beyond. He's walking. He goes bed, bath, and then there's just this door, and it says Beyond.
Michael, you're gonna love it. I think you should definitely check it out sometime soon.
I will.
But
it's that one like I always see, and I'm like, I need to watch it, and then it slips my mind for another 3 months, and then I'll see like the poster or someone will talk about it. I was like, I really need to watch that. And then
don't worry, just whenever you're like, I really need to contemplate my limited amount of time I have with my loved ones, and I need to have a small early midlife crisis on watch this a hot bowl of a planet we have. Watch Click.
I will.
Click. That's just a PSA to everyone.
PCA? I'm so tired.
I watched a lot of comedies this week, so I'm quickly going to talk about 3 other ones I watched. I'll quickly breeze over. I watched Knocked Up and This Is 40.
So
This Is 40 is just like a loose sequel to Knocked Up. It follows Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann's characters, who are basically the main girl's sister and her husband in Knocked Up. And so This Is 40 is just about them dealing with like, they're going through a lot of crises. They both have their own businesses, and one of them's losing money. They can't afford to live in this house anymore. Like it kind of get like Apatow films, they're comedies and they're funny, but they have a lot of like drama in them too.
Yeah. See, I saw it popped up on Netflix when me and Jen were trying to find a movie the other night, and the short that played really turned me off of it.
What was it?
Like, it was the scene when
What's happening, Michael? What's happening behind you?
Someone's walking into my room.
Michael, what's happening behind you? What's going on there, Michael? What's that? Magic doors?
Am I getting bullied?
Magic doors? No. It was when obviously the main chick is having a go at one of a little girl or something.
Oh, and she's talking to the Tom Petty kid.
Yeah. But like just that played, and without context, I'm sort of sitting there like, right, okay.
It's good. Like, it's not obviously like Knocked Up is great, and that's like a really funny film. But like This Is 40 is not as good, but I still enjoy it. Like mainly for Paul Rudd. He can do no wrong. We love Paul Rudd. But yeah, and speaking of Paul Rudd, I also watched the new Ghostbusters again this week.
Nice.
Yeah, so that movie's excellent. I really like that. That's one of the better.
I still need to watch that one.
Yeah, the ending's so heart like touching, and like they do so many tributes and references and so many like great and personal and exciting ways. It's like even sadder now you think about it, because like it was directed by Jason Reitman, who was the son of Ivan Reitman, who just passed away. The original director of Ghostbusters, and like that was like a family film. Like he said that like filming
he grew up on set of that, didn't he?
He grew up on set, and then like his dad was on set every day with him for filming of the new one. Yeah. And like he says, it was like a family film made with love. It's like, I'm just really happy they got to do that together.
Yeah.
Before he passed. So yeah, that movie's like, it's extra special now when you think about it. And I rewatched West Side Story yesterday.
Oh, very nice.
Love West Side Story. Everyone, please, if you get a chance, I think it comes out on Netflix later this week. Please watch it. Not Netflix, Disney Plus. Comes out on Disney Plus later this week. It is so grand, and like it feels like a 50s movie, and like it's awesome.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
Feels like a 50s movie in a good way.
Yeah. Well, that's why Ansel Elgort took it, I guess. He's if he's a bit of a it's hard because like if you can, he's got himself into some trouble. But I actually think that if he wasn't a bad person, or the allegations didn't come out about him, he could have got nominated for Best Actor, because he is great in the film. Like, as much as I don't like him as a human, he's great in the film. Yeah.
It's always that struggle.
It's
always that struggle.
But everyone check out West Side Story. It is awesome. It's Spielberg back on top of his game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Spielberg, it was Spielberg, I believe. Michaela and I watched Jurassic Park in full. Me watching it in full for the first time as well, because I'd never actually seen it in full. I'd only ever seen like bits and bobs of it as a kid when I was younger, and everything. So finally sitting down and watching it, fucking great movie, dude.
Yeah, Jurassic Park slaps.
Like I hate to be that guy who's like, man, you know what? Jurassic Park's a good movie. Like, because
it's perfect.
It's so obviously one of the good movies, and everyone will say that. But now I just get to join in and be like, yeah, it's true.
I have 3 movies I watch, and they are the ones that make me go, they don't like him like they used to. It's Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, and Ghostbusters. I watch those 3 and I go, yep, they don't make them like they used to anymore.
They just don't make them like they used to. Yeah, Michaela and I really enjoyed Jurassic Park. It was really fun.
But like when they see the Brachiosaurus for the first time, and the music
that's a great moment.
Oh, it's you got chills in that moment.
The 3 of them as like a trio are great.
I love how like he notices them and she's still reading the flyer, and he just grabs her head and faces her towards it, and like the music swells, and like you just feel their excitement and wonder in that moment. Like they capture that and they bring that across so perfectly.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum is as iconic as what he's made out to be. Every single line he has is fantastic. One of my favorite parts. Oh, I hope so. One of my favorite parts of sitting down and watching that movie with Michaela was me knowing like the references and the lines and stuff, and Michaela not at all. At one point in the movie, she said "smart boy," and I was like, "You were this close. You were this close to one of the most iconic lines." And then when it came up later on, it was like, "Oh, that's what it was." But yeah, she said "smart boy," and I just started giggling to myself, and she was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, like you always forget that Sam Jackson's in that film.
Oh my god, I totally had no idea that Sam Jackson was in
Sam
that
Jackson
film
at
all. He just turns around and he's just smoking, and it's like, what's Sam Jackson doing in this movie? Oh, it was great.
Yeah, it's perfect. I love Jurassic Park so much.
And on the same tier level of puppetry and costumes and things like that, I forced Michaela to watch the live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film.
Or the one where they use their weapons.
Yeah, the one where they use their weapons, the 1990s, or the 1990 film, with end credits song by MC Hammer. It's, hey, you know what? Michaela watched it. She was like, man, that was a solid 2 out of 5.
It's not a good film. You have to have nostalgia to enjoy it.
I have nostalgia for it, and I just look at all the good parts of that movie. That's a solid 4 stars.
Is this the one where they like randomly go to a cabin for a while, like to regroup after they get hurt?
They go out to a farmhouse because Splinter's been taken and their home's been invaded by the Foot, and so they just have this entire part of the film where they're out at this like farmhouse, and Splinter comes to them around a fire in a Jedi hologram, and that film is wild. It is a wild movie, and I can't recommend everyone go back to it enough. It's great fun.
If you've seen it before and you want to watch it again, absolutely go watch it. Have fun. I like that movie a lot too.
Otherwise, just go watch it for Jim Henson's puppets and costumes.
Just the costumes, like those turtle costumes are amazing.
Yeah, the same person who did Elmo is Splinter. So there you go.
There you go.
Wonder what happened if you tickled Splinter.
if you tickle Splinter,
tickle me, Splinter.
That's a horrid toy.
That's the failed line of toys.
Tickle
That's
me,
a
Splinter?
very failed line of toys.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want that.
One other thing that I would like to bring up. I think just one other thing that I would like to bring up. My dad bought tickets to a film and then said, "Hey, are you free to see this movie? I've already bought tickets." To which I responded, "I guess I'm seeing this movie then."
You bought tickets.
You cannot say anything.
He assumed that I was free. So I mean, thank God I was.
Do not say too much. I'm seeing it tomorrow night.
I will not spoil the movie. I do just want to say the Foo Fighters film Studio 666 is absolutely fucking weird and wild. I don't think this is going to be a shock to anyone. It's not a good movie, but like,
what?
Oh no, I was expecting Citizen Kane.
I am so excited. Like as soon as I saw the first trailer for this, I literally like almost jumped out of my seat. I'm like, no fucking way, a Foo Fighters movie.
You, as a massive Foo Fighters fan, you're gonna fucking love it. And like my dad loved it. My pa came with us. My pa had a great time just because it was this ridiculous, funny, like very 80s energy, like B-grade horror. It's got big Evil Dead vibes, and it's got big at what I would only describe as high school to college, like film school energy, where it's like, you know, student film kind of vibe, like ridiculous, like practical effects and everything. John Carpenter's theme and cameo is fantastic, and it's wild. And I only knew about it beforehand because Dave Grohl was on an interview with IGN, and he was explaining the story of how he got.
It's just you cannot hate that man. You cannot hate that man and anything he does because it's so great.
Even with him being possessed by a demon, he's still a fantastic person. He's the star of this movie 100%. Like all this movie has done to me has gone, okay, this is the longest music video in the world, and 2, Dave Grohl should just take up comedy roles because he's just a fun person to watch on screen.
Hey, he was like, great.
The energy he brings to stuff.
Was he in it?
Yeah, he's in Bill and Ted Face the Music for like one scene.
Oh, that's great. Because straight up, like he's just such a fun person to watch go through an adventure. Like I would just watch I'd watch a film starring Dave Grohl as like someone's like best friend or uncle or something. Like it'd be great.
Yes. Yeah. Look, I'm very keen to see it. I know it's not going to be good at all, but I can guarantee you at the end of the year, I'll be like, now, number one, there's a proper answer, and then there's the real answer. I can probably say that this one will be my up the top.
Your real answer.
The real answer.
Oh, bless.
No, I'm very excited to see
this. Breaking news here on the MMT podcast. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has tested positive for COVID.
Newly blind man Scott Morrison has.
Oh my god.
I'll quickly jump in with
former tradie Scott Morrison.
I'll quickly jump in with
tools before.
So we don't.
He doesn't. No, but he doesn't hold a hose. He doesn't hold a hose.
He doesn't hold a hose.
Can't hold a hose.
Oh my god.
But I watched two things, notably both in the same night. So first is The King's Man. I finally got around to watching it because it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah. It's on Disney Plus now. Yeah.
Look, I can see where Chops was coming from when he said number two. This is better than Kingsman 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think my takeaway is the bits of Kingsman 2 that I really, really like, I like more than bits in this movie. But as a whole, I think this one's more enjoyable. But I'd probably, if I was like, it probably won't go rewatch it very much. I'll just watch the first Kingsman. Like, I don't really watch the second Kingsman, with Kingsman being one of my favorite movies. Parts of it were pretty fun. Like the whole Rasputin dance fight scene was wild. Anything with him in it was quite funny. But yeah, the bits and rest of it didn't quite have the charm. Some of the shots are really good, but it didn't have that Kingsman feel with some of the action scenes.
See, we were talking about it in the car on the way tonight to the Batman. Check out that review now.
Good plug.
And I was saying that like the main thing I noticed is that when you watch the first Kingsman film, it's more of a parody than it is a spy film. Like it's more on the lines with Austin Powers than James Bond.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely.
And I think that's where the Kingsman fails, because it's not like that. It's more serious.
It is.
It's not a parody at all.
Like even in the sense of like I assume there's still humor in it, but like it's taking itself seriously.
Yeah, it's taking it's almost, because obviously you can't approach a world war, especially like a World War One at the moment, with like the parody style.
The best way to put like this whole scenario with the three movies is you got Kingsman Secret Service right in the middle. Is a great parody movie. The humor hits, the charm is there. You go to Kingsman 2, they try and push that humor and just the out there-ness a bit too much. Whereas this one, they don't put much of it in there. It's like quite serious. Like, obviously like the Rasputin stuff, like a bit funny to watch, but he was sort of like that. Like he was a, mystic man, healer, sort of monk sort of person. So he was sort of like that. This is the first one of the three where you don't know that main villain from like sort of early on. Like he doesn't
reveal.
Yeah, like we know him as the shepherd, but like you don't see his face, and then there's stuff. But like there's parts of it. Obviously, some of the fight scenes. There's a really cool shot where they're engaged in a sword fight, and it's the camera angle is just down the sword. So you're obviously just seeing it from the point of view of like the actual sword.
Like the film like peaks and like is really great in it, the way it's choreographed and the shot for the action scenes are shot. Like when it's doing that, that's when the film's at its best, and it's like, this is great. This is like, it shows why Matthew Vaughn like is as good as a director as he is. But it's just more in terms of like, it took itself a little too seriously in my books.
Yeah. So I think I gave it 3 and I gave it 3.
I think I gave it a 3 too. It was enjoyable, but I don't see myself watching it again.
No. And then the other movie I finally got around to seeing, because it came up like as recommended after watching this, obviously, because Ray Fiennes is in both of them, is Grand Budapest Hotel, which I've heard a lot about. As soon as I finished watching the movie, I was a little bit in awe. So I did initially give it a 5. I have now, after talking like with Alex and like about it and stuff. I have dropped it down to 4.5, not to take away from the movie or anything, but I just think I was at first in awe, but then now like thinking about parts of it, it's not quite like that. There's one other Wes Anderson movie I'll probably watch this week that I'm like dying to watch. I just ran out of time between yesterday and today to do it. But it was really good. Like the performances were really good. Like it was like really nicely shot. Like the colors were there and stuff in some scenes. Like the cast was all like, it was huge. I was blown away by how many people were there that I recognized, like that I didn't realize. I didn't really look at the actors in it. I didn't know the story. It's like one of these movies that has never just been spoiled for me. No matter like how much people talk about it, no one's told me what the story was. Like, just hasn't been spoiled. So that was like really good. Some parts like I agree with Alex's comment earlier that some of his style blends really well to stop motion, like with Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, I think his two best films are Fantastic Mr. Fox and the Isle of Dogs.
Yeah,
and
but like because there's obviously parts where like this chops and changes between them because he doesn't want to include like big chairlift shots or something. So it's just and there's like obviously there's a big like ski chase. And like, so for the zoomed out parts, it's like stop animation and it's just going really, like, it just goes really quick.
That's fun.
But like, and the whole thing's in a square ratio, which like I didn't pick up to until like, I didn't pick up to like for halfway through the movie. I was like, wait a second, this whole thing's been square. But it doesn't take away from it. It is a fantastic movie. Yeah, I would recommend watching it. But yeah, so I gave it 4.5 in the end.
Yeah, I think the idea of the whole like initial 5 stars for something like that, like I feel like that's definitely a universal experience in the sense of like, I feel like when you're so impressed by something being so different to other things and while you're still trying to process that, I think that is a pretty natural reaction. I know I do that a bunch as well.
Are you trying to say that tomorrow you will see updated letterbox of our scores for the Batman?
No. Oh, in fact, I'm saying if somehow you got through this entire episode and you hadn't paused and gone and watched the Batman review, I'm saying all of us will definitely still be sitting on 5s for Batman because that was a fucking good movie.
We like Batman. Go, Chris.
We do.
Quickly, while I've been meaning to mention this the last few weeks, but we've just been running out of time and I haven't wanted to bog down into shows of it. But there's 2, one of them just finished and there's one that's still going. 2 shows I'm watching at the moment. And the one that's still going is Pam and Tommy, which is the Sebastian Stan and Lily James.
I remember you talking about this a few weeks back.
Biopic, I guess, bio-series.
Yeah, Pamela Anderson.
The Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson docu-series. Yes, I think
docudrama.
Docudrama.
Whatever it was under.
It's about how they reacted to their sex tape getting leaked and distributed by Seth Rogen's character, which is like, it's really good because it doesn't, the first 2 episodes, or at least the first one, is heavily from Seth Rogen's perspective. And like, this is someone who robbed them because he basically what happened was he did construction work on his house and Tommy Lee, who Sebastian Stan's character, just kept changing all the plans last minute. Like he'd build something and then suddenly he'd want it changed. So he'd be like, I don't care, change it. And Seth Rogen's like, well, I'm paying for this out of pocket. And Tommy Lee's like, well, money's not an issue. I'll pay for it all. And then like he wouldn't pay for it up front. So like eventually,
the context of anyone who doesn't know Tommy Lee is the drummer of Motley
Crue. Yeah.
So he's got money.
Yeah. So like eventually they had like scuffles and stuff, and like eventually got to the point where like he fired him. He goes, I'm not paying you a cent for any of the work you've done. And Seth Rogen spent all this money on wood and materials to do everything. And so Seth Rogen just goes, well, I'm going to rob you. And so he steals a safe out of his house. And then he finds the sex tape in it. And then him and his, because he used to be an ex-porn star, he's got connections and they start distributing and selling the tape on the internet. So he's not the protagonist of the show at all. He's the villain of the show, essentially. And we haven't seen them for a few episodes now because we're just kind of focusing on how Pam and Tommy are dealing with this. And like they really go into Pamela Anderson's point of view from all of this, where she's like, like they're having an argument and Tommy Lee's like, well, you think because your career's bigger than mine at the moment? Because like this takes place when Motley Crue are on the out. They're, the new age of rock and stuff's coming in.
I was gonna say, like, Motley Crue were big in the 80s, like, and then the getting to the late 90s,
like, exactly. And so, like, Pamela's just like, this is worse for me, Tommy, because essentially she's a woman. Like, they look at you and they say, oh, you're in this video, they think of you as a stud and everything, but they, like, to me, like, this is so much worse. And like, there was a whole last episode was just her going through a deposition, only her. Like, they only did one to her. Damn. And they just like asked her all these horrible things. So it's definitely an acting showcase, and everyone's great in the show, especially Lily James and Sebastian Stan. And Peacemaker has finished.
Very different energy.
Very different energy. Peacemaker is absolutely one of my favorite shows to come out of the last few years. It is the sequel to The Suicide Squad, and it's all about the Peacemaker, John Cena's Peacemaker character. And you take a character from that movie who is probably the worst character in the film, morally and everything, and they really broke him down, and they really made him super likable in the show. And I recommend, if everyone should watch Peacemaker. It's fantastic. There's some really great cameos in the last episode. Nice. And it's just a really fun DC movie. Show. John Cena's great, and like, everything's great, and I'm happy that he got renewed for season 2.
Oh, cool! It did get renewed.
So definitely check out Peacemaker on that.
Well,
and it's got one of the best opening credits ever.
That's true.
It does have one of the best opening credits. I think, other than a closing statement of you'll see the new Pokemon.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a new Pokemon, and straight up the water Pokemon is just Dewey Duck from DuckTales.
You know that I'm a Digimon boy through and through.
I know you are.
I'm not here to talk about this Pokemon bullshit.
Yeah.
You call me when they got the Digimon game out.
I'll call you when this Pokemon game gets cancelled, because they're just going to get sued by Disney, because it's straight up just Dewey Duck from DuckTales. And people are already joking, being like, oh yeah, his evolution is just going to be Donald. And it's like, okay. Good luck to you, Nintendo. I'm sure you can pay that lawsuit off in an instant. Follow us on your podcast services of choice.
Do it.
Subscribe on YouTube. Get a good night's sleep. Have a sweet dream. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Millennial Movie Talk.
Watch the Batman the review. Watch the Batman review.
Go watch the Batman review and the Batman, and we'll spoil it all sometime soon and chat about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And stay cool, you cool cats. And as always, I'm Braden.
I'm Michael.
I'm Alex. And we're out of here. Play the shit.
Play the shit. I'm sleeping.